Hello, and welcome to this lesson on quadratic equations. Right, what is a quadratic equation? Simply put, a quadratic equation is when we're going to start dealing with x squareds. So, for example, we're going to start dealing with questions like x squared plus something x is equal to naught. Right? That is basically what we're going to be dealing with today. So, now it's the highest power of these quadratic equations is going to be a 2. All right, now what we're going to do today is we're going to basically learn how to solve those type of equations. Now, at grade 9 level, you're only going to be expected to do certain types of equations. So let's go through quickly. Quadratic equations are equations with a degree of polynomial 2. In other words, the highest power involved is a 2. It means that there will be 2 solutions for each question. So notice in all the other equations we've been dealing with, we've only had one solution. Now, in this type of question, where there's an x squared involved, we're now going to have 2 solutions. Right. At this level, you're going to be expected to deal with the following forms. The first one is where you'll be given a simple quadratic, like for example, x squared is equal to a number, or you're going to be given something like x squared minus a number is equal to a second number. All right, we're going to go through each one of these just now. All right. Also, you might be getting a question where it goes x squared plus a number times x is equal to naught. Now, you're only going to be expected to do those two for the moment. In term 3, you're going to be getting questions like this, where you're going to get a trinomial, and you then need to factorize that and solve it equal to naught. Now, as I said over there, it will only be dealt with in term 3, that last one. All right, so let's go. So, to solve them, you're going to move all the terms to one side. So basically, everything needs to go to one side. The other side will need to be a 0. So what will happen is that you'll end up with a situation where you can say all the terms equal to 0. So that's important for you to remember. You need to make sure that one side has to be 0. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do this section. Right. Now, you're going to use 2 rules to help you factorize these expressions. So what happens is you're going to take all that expression and you're going to be able to put it into brackets. You're going to need to factorize it, all right? Now, the first one you're going to deal with is, the first rule you're going to deal with is the difference of squares rule, which is x squared minus a number squared is equal to x minus a, x plus a. Now, you'll see over here, this is a square term. So, if it's not a square number, you're going to find that you're going to square root it and it's going to become a square root answer. Okay. Then the second one is where you got x squared plus ax. Now here you're taking out your common factor of x, all right, to get your answers. So you're going to use these rules to help you solve to be able to transform your quadratic into its brackets. And then what happens is once you get your 2 brackets, you're going to make each one of these 2 brackets equal to 0 on their own. And then it becomes 2 linear equations which you then now need to solve. All right, so let's go through some examples. Example 1. Now notice these first 2 examples are the type x squared minus a is equal to b. So now it's x squared minus a number equals the second number. All right. So for example, x squared minus 4 is equal to 0. Now, what happens is when you get these type of examples where it's x squared minus something, right? I'm going to go back a little bit. You're going to use this first rule to help you. So now you're going to say x minus a number, x plus a number. Now remember, to get that number over there, you have to square root the original number. So now it's over here, I need to square root that 4. All right? So over here, the square root of 4 is 2. That's why over here I say x minus 2, x plus 2 is equal to 0. Right. That's where the 2's come from. All right. Now, remember, now that you got it in brackets, now you can say that bracket equals 0, and that's where this one comes from. Or, notice I'm using the word or. In quadratic equations, you must use that word or. If you say and, I have to mark it wrong. Okay. The second bracket is x plus 2, which means we're going to say x plus 2 is equal to 0. Now, over here, this is a linear equation. This is another linear equation which you can easily solve. All right? You move this over, it becomes x equals 2. This one becomes x equals minus 2. Right. For this one, X squared minus 10 is equal to 0. Now notice here, the square root of 10 is square root of 10. That's why I'm saying x minus square root of 10, x plus, sorry, I forgot, I have to change this to a plus. Plus square root of 10 is equal to 0. When you solve it, you'll get x is equal to square root of 10, or x is equal to minus square root of 10. Now, one thing I wanted to mention over here is you'll notice in this type of example, where you've got x squared minus a number, all right, you're going to find that your answers are going to just simply be the square root of that number. So you're going to say the plus square root and the minus square root. If you look at this one, the square root of 4 is 2 and minus 2. All right. The square root of 10 is square root of 10 or minus square root of 10. So it helps you to get to that answer quite quickly by doing that. All right, but notice you need to show me that bracket as well. All right, so you need to show me the bracket and then you'll find the answer. You don't have to give me this bit of here. You don't have to do that. All right, let's go to examples where you need to worry about the common factor. Now remember, with the common factor, you're just taking out the x as your common factor. So have a look. X squared minus 5x is equal to 0. Now, if you take out x as a common factor, you're left with the x, one of the x's here, and the minus 5. So that's where this bracket comes from. So you're taking out x as a common bracket, as a common factor, that's where this one comes from. And you're left with x minus 5 is equal to 0. Now, each one will now equal to 0. So this x will equal 0, that's where this one comes from. Or x minus 5 is equal to 0, which this one's come from. All right. Now you can't solve, you've already solved that one, so that's why I've just carried it down. But for this one, I'm moving the 5 over to the other side, becomes 5. So x is equal to 5. Right, now if you could do the example 4, x squared plus 8x is equal to 0. Now, take out your x as a common factor. So you're going to have x times by x plus 8 is equal to 0. Remember, each one now becomes a equation on its own. So you can say x equals 0 or x plus 8 is equal to 0. That's where this comes from. Remember, move the 8 over to the other side, becomes minus 8. So x is equal to 0 or x is equal to minus 8. All right, now, remember, you now got homework questions over there. Remember, if you're struggling with a section, you do levels 1 and 2. If you want to do well in maths, you go for level 3 as well. Okay.